gentlemen, welcome to Leadership in Politics with Dr. Abraham. Today we have a very distinguished author, best-selling author, inclusivity expert, Miss Furkan Karayel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Abe, for the kind invitation. Happy to be here.
Of course, I saw what you're doing. I always shine a light on writers and authors that are doing great work, and you are one of them. So it's good to have you. Tell our audience, what do you actually do?
I'm a diverse inclusion professional speaker. On the other side, I lecture on diverse and inclusion on a college here in Dublin. I'm based in Dublin, by the way, and a little bit backwards. I am a graduate from software engineering, and I worked in the industry for 10 big years as a software engineer in global tech organizations before I changed my job, the big transition to diverse inclusion world. So that's me in a nutshell.
Why did you do that? Why the transformation or change from to?
Yeah, there are many reasons, but I can tell you the three most important ones.
Okay.
The first one was not able to see women who look like me in the leadership positions of big tech companies. It was really frustrating. It wasn't an only issue in an organization or a society, a country, but it was a global issue. Still, how many people that we see who look, who are coming from diverse backgrounds, we see women, especially in the leadership positions of tech companies, it's very limited. The second biggest reason was diversity, inclusion, belonging. These words were being used a lot as a marketing tool, but the action piece was always missing. This was a big frustration, as you can imagine. I always wanted to give the action piece. Small steps can make a huge difference, and also I always, prioritize action rather than talking. And the third, but not the least reason, was my manager. She didn't know how to deal with me, even though I could be nominated to be one of the most easygoing employee in the team. But again, she didn't know how to deal with me. And
were you difficult? Were you difficult to deal with?
I think what I feel was, because I was the only one from a different background, I was the only non-English native speaker. I was the only Turkish background. So in many ways, I was the only, like straight away, someone who looked really, different in the team. She might have seen me as a problem to be solved rather than how do we include Furkan? How do we get her opinion? How do we make sure that she feels belong and
part of the team? Yeah.
But on the other side, I was being dealt as a problem to be solved. So that's where, like, I have to mention that the intentions were really good, but again, I was being perceived as a problem rather than I bring diverse thoughts to the team.
She was really a manager, not a leader. So she didn't know how to, because leaders do inspire and include others. And hopefully a show like this will bring a light. So if she's listening, she should change, right? Is she still alive? Is she still working? Yeah, okay. So here you are, you made it, and you wrote a book on it. What's the name of the book?
Inclusive Intelligence.
We have it? Let me see it. Good. Yes. And what's the premise of this book?
So inclusive intelligence is the meeting point of emotional intelligence and inclusive leadership. So it's concept coming from my work with different leaders, global leaders in the sector, that we have seen some leaders were really good at inclusion on a day-to-day basis, on their activities, on their agendas, on the things that they really do. What they do was completely different, but they could really normalize inclusive behaviors in the team. And they become really good role models by being that inclusive leader. So we have found a pattern on those leaders, even though they were in a completely different sector, they were based in different locations. These were 6 skills that we have found in common in them, so that what made them inclusive leaders. So they were self-awareness, empathy, engagement, cultural wisdom, accountability, and commitment. So in the book, I mentioned about how do they implement inclusion steps, and how do they also become a role model by inspiring other leaders as well. So each chapter is talking about each skills, and also I added some of my own
stories and
experiences.
experiences.
Yeah, I think that's what make it more unique with other stories, what I have experienced, plus what I have experienced myself as well.
Now, what you're wearing is not a fashion statement. What you're wearing is a religious obligation, right?
Yes.
So religious obligation, it means by faith, by definition, by the doctrine or the religion, you must wear it. It's not like a choice you have. You can remove it or not. You can remove it if you're not practicing.
It depends on the people. If they would like to, depending on the religion, there are things that some people prefer to do, some people don't prefer to do.
But what does the religion say about what you're wearing? Is that a must or it's not a must?
It's a religion
obligation
that I wear it for. Yes.
So when you believe in something, you really have to have it on. The point is, I'm going to bring here is to people out there. When you see someone which belong to a major religion like this and wearing a veil in its own environment, whether it's in a learning institutions or political institutions or business institution like this, if you talk about inclusion, you must include people that wear such thing. So this is a message I want to bring here in this show is you cannot discriminate against others because of their faith and because of what they're wearing. And I'm sure, Furkan, and you know that we have laws that forbid such thing. What else does your book talk about? Tell me what else. You mentioned something about your dad and uncle, and if whatever you want to mention about that, tell me what's the story, what's the backstory there, and how do we go?
Once we touch about a headscarf, so I was about 13, 14 years of age. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this in the book as well. So my dad and my uncle, they share completely different views and lifestyles. So once I was in my uncle's place with my dad, and we were having conversations, and I was showing them what I've done during the summer holidays, and both of them were really smiling and really proud of me. So then my uncle turned and said, Furkan, I'm going to tell you something. Don't get this wrong, but look, have you ever seen a woman who wears headscarf leading an organization, a big organization? You probably haven't seen it because they are not brought into that level in the organization. So if you now choose to wear a headscarf, then your employment opportunities will be limited, and you do it by your own hands. So you make people to judge you because of what you do, your choice. So that's what he told me. He said, Furkan, you're a smart girl. We believe in you, but you must consider that. It was like a big shock to me because my age was like 13, 14, and I wasn't I dream of working in the tech field. I always had big dreams working, globally. I always believe, if I deserve somewhere, success, if I deserve to be successful and get into a place, then I definitely, there is always a fair judgment. So that's what I always believe. And then, and it was a bit like a shock, but he was right. He was completely right. And I said,
he was right, not because it's a fact. He was right because it's a stereotype. Because of stereotype.
Yes. So that's a bit like shocking to me. Then my father joined to the conversation. He said, Furkan, you will only work for one company, you can only work for one company at a time. And that company should value your contribution and your insights. They should value you rather than how you look like or what your preferences in dressing or anything. So that actually shows that this is a good company to work. So you don't want to work with a company who will discriminate you anyway. So that will be a win for you, not a lose. And I said, wow, that makes
better sense.
That makes so much sense to me. And again, that fire lit inside me wasn't completely cooled down, but I was more satisfied with that perspective. And also one of my core values is authenticity. So for me, I like to actually show my values on who I am when I'm walking. That's something that really, defines me as well. So that's why I feel more comfortable showing that, I'm a Muslim woman. It's not a surprise, and that felt more confident in me, and yeah, that's the story.
It's beautiful. What I'm hearing is such a beautiful thing. I like it. I admire you. Furkan, this is a culture war. Nothing wrong with the Muslim woman and her thinking and her what she dresses. That's her religious obligation. Most Muslim women I know through the show or other alternatives, they're intelligent, engineers, doctors, nurses, and high positions, but they don't come out and show, here we are. No.
Another thing I would like to mention, if somebody wants to discriminate somebody against, maybe like headscarf is one thing.
One of them, yeah.
They will find million ways, like
exactly.
In unconscious bias, there is a million type of unconscious bias. So it will happen anyway if somebody wants to discriminate somebody. So that's for sure.
Happen in the same group, the same race, same culture. Yeah. In case they don't like the thinking of that individual. Tell me more about what you do. Like, you have your own company now?
Yes.
Tell me about the company that you have.
Yeah. My company is called Diverse In. So we are a group of consultants working together, bringing authentic solutions, depending on what organization's diverse inclusion vision is. So our consultants, we call them ambassadors. So we have 20 ambassadors from different backgrounds, different expertise, including gender, culture, neurodiversity, disabilities, LGBTQ, women in tech. So from all the perspectives of diverse and inclusion, we provide solutions to organizations need.
You also have courses? You provide courses as well?
I have online courses, and people can, it's self-paced courses. People can click and watch the videos, do the exercises, and as well, recently I published a book, and I am on a book tour actually. Let me say that.
This for the same book, for the inclusive? Yes. Okay. When was it published? When was it launched?
Last November.
Oh, recently.
Yeah.
Recently. It will be a pleasure to shine a light on it.
Yeah.
And recently. Where can people find it?
So depending on where you live, you can find it in all Amazon websites. And also we have a website called inclusiveintelligence.org. You can find more information there about inclusive intelligence, as well as finding the links to the book, more information about myself, or the reviews, or link to the book from Amazon and everything. So inclusiveintelligence.org.
Excellent. Anything else you want to share with us?
I would like to say thank you for the kind invitation to be on your show. And I think inclusive intelligence mission is something that I would like to really broaden in the world, and let people to get an understanding of what it is, and spread and help people to develop more inclusive leadership skills.
Very nice. The book is Inclusive Intelligence. The author is Furkan Karayel. I do thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Abe.